bottom of all of it. We're gonna figure out how to figure out the chords. These gosh darn chords. For starters, let's just play in D. You know what I mean? It's good to see you. We got Zach in here. It's gonna be a good time. I can guarantee that much. Get yourself acquainted right here. Let's have our warm-up just be some nice, fun BB box good times, right? Check out that little area right there. If you know, you know. Okay? So right there, that's a D on the second string, right? Groovy. Let's get all lined up there with our index finger on that D. And then just do a little hammer on, pull off right there. Try a bendy. It's a good spot to bend right there. Not bad. Phrasing. It's a little playground right here. And this approach right here, you can just have a field day with that. Play with the power of repetition, and don't forget to tune. I feel like overnight the guitar got a little bit chilly, got a little bit sharp. We're gonna move from this warm-up straight into dissecting what the heck is going on with these chords. Let me know where are you tuning in from, where in the world, and if you would, let me know what device you're watching on. Are you watching on your laptop? Are you watching on an iPad? Are you watching on a Tamagotchi? What is your mode of checking out the jams, and how is it going for you? I'm actually trying to go live here on the old on Facebook, which is wild and crazy. I don't know. If you're watching on Facebook, let me know. I'm trying to sort of get a handle of being everywhere to everyone all the time, because why not, right? Watching on iPhone, okay, Mac Studio computer. I got a Mac. What do I have? A Mac Mini, I think. Great. So if you've got some decent speakers, it's going to help, because then you'll be able to hear these bass notes. Watching on an iPhone. All right, all good, nice. Love it. So keep on jamming here. Just if you were to be playing along with the chords, check it out. I'll play them, see if you can sound them out. Look at how those chords overlap with where we are with this lick. So, in that quick flyby, was anyone able to just snag the chords? Or were you like, dude, I got it. After the first, third, or fourth time I went around, I had it so well, I was just getting a little bit nauseous. For some of my friends and members who are here watching, shout out if you're a member, because you have been rocking this topic all week. This whole week, we've been doing, and I'll put up the screen again, how to figure out the chords, right? Who has ever been in a situation where you're trying to sound out the chords, whether it's in person with other people or sitting at home with just you and your speakers, and you've struggled? Like, you've tried to sound out what's going on, and you didn't have the ultimate tabs in front of you, and you sort of trial and error. What was the thing that you did? Tell me what it was that you were doing as your recipe. How do you figure out the chords? What has been your move? What has been your starting point? Because we're going to get into a very easy, memorable recipe that I'm not saying will work every single time, but when it works all the time. And if you're willing to be humble, because ear training will humble us. If you think that ear training is a piece of cake and some people have the skill and some people don't, I'm here to tell you that's a lie. You absolutely have to work it and train it. Your ears have muscles, a lot of cartilage and little tiny bones, and they also, figuratively speaking, have muscles that allow you to get better at noticing where you are. And then, like a detective, you can find out a clue as far as you can find the key, the center, that note that sounds like home. That'll be our first step, right? And then you build from that to try to get piece by piece the sounds of the chords. And I'm going to walk you through not only how to use the ear training, but some of the classic ways that you can just look at the notes and the chords that go together in a major key, and that'll narrow down the options. A lot of times, if you're starting just feeling around in the dark, there's too many options, and you might be thinking it could be anywhere. It could be on the ceiling, it could be under the couch. But the next chord you're looking for, the droid you're looking for, could very well be one of the usual suspects. So, to my members, this is something that you got dialed in. I'm going to expect you to help lead the charge now. When I ask you, what would be our first step if we were approaching this backing track that we were hearing going around and around and around? Let's say we wanted to make a chord chart that we could follow, that we could even hand over to someone else. If we had to show this to a bass player and be like, hey, these are the chords, how might we start? Okay? Assuming we know nothing else other than we've got this music playing. I'm going to say it, yeah. And David Walker's going to say it. We got to find the home note, okay? And this is where I want you to recognize from this very first step, mistakes are not only okay, they are highly encouraged, because genuinely, this is what almost every person I know at whatever level they're at, what I'm about to show you, what they do to find the home note. And we'll walk through it. And we'll also talk about how to avoid falling for the decoys, as we call them. You got to make mistakes, make a mess of it. Ba, ba, ba. Use your voice. Ba, ba. I go along the first string. Ba. Hey, that note sounds pretty good. Let me keep going because I might be falling for a mirage there, a decoy, and I'll explain what that means in a bit. Da, 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 da. That sort of sounds like it matches. That one definitely doesn't sound. Da, da, ba, 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 ba. Ba, ba, ba. When you sing and hit a note that really feels like da, 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 da. If you were to stop the track and hit that, it could sound like, oh, that could be where the song ends. It could sound like it came home. It is sort of a subjective art form. You have to find the note that feels like, yeah, that's the one that feels like if everything else ended right there, that could be the home note. And what I'm talking about here with the decoys is that there are often going to be notes that sound pretty good for a few of the chords. So step one is find home. And my recommendation is to make a mess and do trial and error until you can really find a note that feels like it could fly through the entire track like a dart. It just feels like every single chord, it could at least be ringing through that. So now when I hit this note right here, that's an A, by the way, it sounded pretty good because, so the home note that we landed on was D. The note that sounded pretty good, and there's a couple other ones that might sound pretty good, is A. That one might sound pretty good too, the F sharp. But as you notice, there's certain chords where it doesn't feel like it matches quite as well. Can anyone tell me, from my people that know what we're dealing with here, why would the A sound like it's pretty close but no cigar? And why would the F sharp sort of be in the same category, that it sounds a bit like, I don't know, maybe that's it. So the D was the one that's the one we were after. And we had A and we had F sharp. D, A, F. And these are what I'm calling the decoys, those other ones, right? We want to try to avoid falling for the decoys, and this is something you'll get better at. Sometimes it'll be trickier than others. So those are chord tones of the home chord. The home chord of D major is made up of D, F sharp, and A. So they're going to have, they're going to sound like that they have more in common with that coming home sound. And in fact, they match some of the chords. There's an A chord in that progression. So you're going to have notes that come from the home scale that sound similar, but I want you to make sure you go all the way around the block. So that's your first thing. When you go to find home, take it through all 12 notes until you find the one that just feels like that's the one. And you'll just have to get better at it. It won't always be super easy. This one was pretty straightforward. So you find home, you avoid the decoys. What would you say step two is for my people that know what we're dealing with here? And I already kind of alluded to it, because once I hit that root note, I've hit a chord right now that sort of felt like it was the home chord. What would your step two be after you find, great, so I found one note. How's that gonna help me find out the chords? Chords are more than one note. Lay it on me. I'm looking at the comments, whatever I can see here. And if you're on Facebook, say hi. I'm gonna try to catch the comments there. Oh yeah, I can see the comments on Facebook. How you doing over there? This is live. So Stephen Warren, Greg Salas, Leonard, Domingo, how we doing? Akil's over there watching on Facebook. I hope it's working. Sometimes I notice when I switch to like this angle, it might be cropping it, but I think if you watch it on the horizontal, maybe turn your phone. I don't know. We're trying to figure that out. But we got a lot of people following us on Facebook, so I hope we can deliver the goods over there. So the bass line has been recommended by Jeff. Okay. So before we jump to that, that'll actually be the next step. And we are going to have different music, by the way, today. This is just our first one. We're going to take our time with this, and then we're going to hop around to different pieces of music. So we're not just stuck with the same chord progression. But we got to figure out really quick before we move to the next step is the overall tonality. And I say tonality instead of key because we don't necessarily know yet. If are we in D major, or is it like is it going to be a blues where it's like D7 chords, or is it D minor? And this is where you can again very quickly just play a major or minor chord based off of that home note that we found, and you will pretty quickly be able to tell like whether the song is spitting it back out or if it feels like, yeah, no, that's good. So if we try this, the D major sounds like it kind of is okay. It sort of meshes in there. If I go D minor, right away it feels like someone knocked over a guitar and it's out of tune or whatever. An even quicker way to do that is to just test the third. So if I have this root note, this D, if I play a major third, or you could even be down here on that D and then hit that's a major third of that D major chord. You can just test one tiny morsel of the major or the minor third. So same idea. It feels like it's sort of it rings true along with the chords versus if I go minor, right away it sounds like, whoa, someone missed a turn there. So you're gonna have to test the minor versus major real quick. That's all you do. Once you get good at these steps, you could do those first two steps in literally like about 4 or 5 seconds. You could just be like, "Ah, da, 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 da." You could just find your bearings on the key center of D major. Okay, so now the next step has already been mentioned. That's good. We'll clip it right along. Try to follow the bass line. Okay. And to do that, this is great because this is where the ear training really starts to ramp up. Finding the key center is good, but if you can start to listen selectively to a certain frequency, like if you zero in and listen to the lower register, the bass line, it's going to enhance your skills across the board with how you hear music. It's really pretty amazing once you start to be able to isolate and tune out some of the higher parts and listen to the low part, or the other way around when you want to listen selectively. So let's listen to this track now for a moment, and I'll let it play. I won't say anything. Just try to listen purely to the bass line. And again, try to hum along to see if you can at least start following the phrasing of the bass. Now, it is at this time that I'm going to introduce a helpful kind of not necessarily a step or a rule, but it's a guideline for this whole thing. Stop often and take bite-sized pieces because assuming that this is something where you have the track where you're able to hit the space bar and stop it, stop the moment that you hear like one or two things that you have to go figure out. Because if I play that whole track over and over again, and how many of you have experienced this where you're looping a track, it's got maybe 5, 6, 7 chords. After it gets to about the third or fourth chord, you're a bit overwhelmed. And if you don't stop the merry-go-round, it'll just keep going around, and then you'll keep sort of trying to reach your hands in and figure it out, and it gets a little bit like you get stuck in a loop and you might not get the full thing. So this is literally how I would do it if I was really trying to figure it out piece by piece. I would just go that much. It'd be ba 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 bum, ba 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 ba, and I would have to find, okay, what are those notes? This is going to test your ability to map out the fretboard because frankly, if you can't find what that note is and name it, you're gonna be pretty much up a creek in general. You've got to be able to this gives you a good reason. You're like, so that's a D, bum, 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 G. Okay. So you do that and it'll take a little while, but again, you'll get faster at it. The thing that you want to be listening for is what is happening on the downbeats. The downbeats are the strong beats. Those are the ones that are like the one out of the 1, 2, 3, 4. That is most likely where the bass player is going to be putting the root note. Again, it's not a perfect science. Songwriters and musicians can do whatever they want. It could be a real, you know, uh, avant-garde approach, or they could be starting on different notes, but most of the time they're going to be landing right on the root note of the chord, and that'll give you another piece of the puzzle. So right here, this is very much an example where these root notes are landing bomb, bomb, bomb. And there might be other notes in between where the bass player is connecting chord to chord, and they're doing passing tones. Don't fall for those most of the time. And again, you have to just sort of build your skill to notice the difference. Most of the time, those are going to be passing tones that don't count as chord changes. So back to the D. So this bass player, to start with, is playing really clear, just bass notes. It's almost like he's the guy who's helping you out. But those little fills, bo bo bum. There's a couple more fills the second time around. Don't fall for those. Listen just for the really clear bass notes that land on the downbeat, and that'll be giving you the roots. Okay, I got to check in with you. Is this making sense so far? Just answer 1 through 4. At least, is it making sense in terms of a strategy? I don't expect you to immediately be able to do this because we're going to hop around to some different little chord progressions that are intended to kind of challenge you. It should make your brain tickle. It should feel like an Alka Seltzer got plopped into your brain, and you're like, whoa. But that's why, again, taking breaks is important, to take a breather and notice that you might only be able to get like 2 out of the 4 chords. That's better than 0. Okay, so I won't let you fall for this sort of excuse of like, well, some people can have ear training, some people don't. It's like, that's a lie. It's a lie. Everybody has to work at it. Everybody has to work at it. Everybody has to work at it. That includes you. And this will just make you a better musician all around. So you're going to find the roots. Great. So let's map this out. I'll sort of I'll set this aside for a moment. We'll pull that back up, but I'll start building my chart because this takes us right into the next step. Okay. So let's listen to this, and I'll kind of guide you through this and see if it matches what you're hearing. Okay. So I hear D, G, back to D, and I'll stop there just so I don't get, buried by all these changes. D to G, back to D, and then I hear A. So let's see if that matches. Dun, 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 ba, 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 dun, 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 oh, nope. A, yeah. So it is A. Okay, great. So we'll just sort of rehash that. Here we go. D to G, D to A. Ba ba ba, ba ba ba, ba ba ba, ba. Great. So a bit of a curveball in the second half. It goes to B minor, then to G, then to D, and then to A. The power of what happens when you write down anything. Like, how many of you have experienced where, like, the moment you write it down, good old fashioned pen and paper, or in this case, iPad, pencil, and iPad, when you write it down, it sticks better, whatever it is, even though it seems like I got it. And especially if you're looking at like a chord chart, even if you have it in front of you on Ultimate Tabs, the moment you write it down, you, in your handwriting and your way of processing it, absorb it. And what we get here that's really critical, and this brings in step 4, is that you've got to count it out. And by count it out, I don't just mean like, oh yeah, I can count along 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got to count out form. And what this is, what you're looking at, right? Come on, M. I know I drew an M. When you count out the form, this is the form. This is the song form, right? That's what people refer to when it's like, yeah, let's play a verse, let's play a chorus. Okay, what's the form of the tune? Meaning it goes, and when you count this out, what you're going to get an understanding is like how quickly did the chord changes happen? And in this case, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. It's nice and symmetrical. So you get one chord per bar, right? Per measure. If we have these dividing lines, it's going to be nice and even. But unless you spell that out and unless you're able to notice that, you might get stressed out wondering how and when the next chord change is going to happen. Believe me, the simplest things sometimes will trip you up where you're like, you might in your head be thinking, oh, yeah, this chord progression is just, it's like a 1, 4, 1, 5, I think. And then you might be repeatedly missing this chord, right? How many of you had that thing where like you almost got a chord progression right? And then there's some little thing that you keep stubbing your toe on. You're like, oh yeah, I forgot about the blank chord. Oh, there's that one chord at the end that switches. If you're that player, I gotta say right now, you end up being kind of a drag in the jam because if there's other slightly more experienced players, it's not that they're that much better, you know, it's usually just that they have decided that they're gonna latch on to what the chord changes are in the song form, and they're gonna remember it. Because if you keep forgetting, I keep forgetting the B minor that goes right there. If you forget, yeah, you didn't know you were getting some Michael McDonald there, but if you keep forgetting that, and it's just you and your computer, I guess it's fine. But if you're playing with other musicians, they're not gonna have much patience if you can't just remember that that's where that chord goes or wherever else, there's an interesting part of the progression. So when you count out the form, you're going to really be able to check your work and see if the chords that you have match what they have. So let's just play along with this, and you can glance at this. Hopefully, you're writing down your own version of this. Ooh, we'll head to that jam in a bit. Okay, so this is our chord progression. Play the chords that you choose, meaning play them where you like to play them. They could be open, but make sure you nail those changes. Here comes a B minor, G. Great. The beauty of this is that once you get this blocked out so that it's off your mind, you can start writing interesting guitar parts. And by interesting, they just got to be tasty, just fitting they don't need to reinvent the wheel, but you're just way less stressed out. Okay, questions, comments, concerns. This is where I can kind of see if you've been dropping any questions. I might not have seen it before. I see you over there on Facebook. Oh, the power of technology. I see you over there on YouTube, horizontal, vertical, all the which ways that we got. Do you see and hear and feel I, I don't know, my buddy Tony surfing? That's a good dog right there. That was a good day for a good dog. You know what I mean? Um, all right, looking for any questions. I got a lot of my members here. By the way, if you don't know, my name's Tim Fagan. I'm a hit songwriter, music producer, and guitar is my first and foremost love. I teach it online. You're probably aware of that. You've probably seen my short videos here, there, and everywhere. And these are the Saturday live streams that we do to spread the word, but they mirror what we do throughout the week. So my whole thing is guitar workout of the day. Several years ago, I was in a fitness class, doing a CrossFit class, and I was like, man, at the end of the class, exhausted, covered in sweat, and I was just grateful that I didn't have to make a bunch of decisions on how to work out and what to do, and how many sets to do. I was like, why isn't there anything like this for guitar? Because the main thing I see is that people want to learn guitar, but they don't know where to start, they don't know what to practice, and they don't know how many reps they should be doing and what to focus on. And all those decisions lead to that paralysis by analysis. And then you've probably experienced that where you have the bounty of all the videos in the world that you could ever want to click on, but where to start? And should I hop from this one to that one next, or should I keep doing this one until I'm really good at it? That's where I come in. So we stay on a theme throughout the week. You feel like it gets into your bloodstream. Hopefully, my members seem to agree that it's like we don't just go like scattered approach. You're always going to feel like you want a little bit more. That's great. Welcome to the world of getting better at a very advanced skill. Guitar is a lifetime commitment. You got to enjoy it and just love music, enjoy the scenery, and know that the themes will come back around and that we're always connecting them to chances to share your music and your playing in the community. So I always offer 2 weeks totally free. I want you to fit in and feel like you like it and you want to stick around. This is not for someone that wants to just hoard lessons and save them for a rainy day and watch them entirely on their own. Although you can do that. You can watch all the replays. We've done over now 500 and this is 549. So don't feel like you have to watch all of them, but you can access every single replay and you can search by topic. And then we always make fresh ones each week. We have a Zoom call every Friday and we get together. So I love it. My members seem to dig it. They show up on Saturdays because they're crazy. And yeah, the daily finger pump, finger exercises, get ripped. Okay, so if you do have a question, shout it out and make sure that I see it. Let's just keep plowing ahead. I've got now what to play for you is the B section, the other section of this same song. So that my point is that we're still in D major, and now what we're going to get into kind of those first steps that I just described, steps 1, 2, 3, 4, where step one, you find the key center, avoid the decoys. Step two, well, you test the major or the minor quality. You sort of figure out what the ballpark you're in, whether it's a minor or major centered song. Step three, Follow the bass line, listen selectively to the bass line, do your best to sound it out, stop and start often to make sure you don't get swallowed up by the all the different moves, and be sure to listen on the downbeat because oftentimes the bass player will have connecting fills and that's not the chord change. It's on the strong beats. And then step 4 was count out the form so that you can actually write it out and figure out how long the chord changes happen and you get an overview of it. So then you can take that off your brain and play those tasty triads that you might be working hard to learn. So now we're going to just get into another section of this tune. Let's see what we can do. Let's use our skills. So we're still in D major, but we might not be starting this progression on D major, right? I'm trying to remember how this goes. Yeah. What do we got? Lay it on me. Lay it on me. And my members heard this on Monday, but they maybe forgot, which is good. It's good to forget and remember. Akil giving the shout out on Facebook. Thanks, man. Yeah, Chad, jump in the water. It's fine. Yeah, it's a good time. But, I'm the guy. Take my word for it. Okay, I'm counting on y'all. We gotta sound this out. What's going on with this bass line? What do we got? And as you do that, I'm going to write out the notes of D major just to remind us or maybe show us what's on the menu. It's awfully quiet out there, gang. What happened? Just going to be frozen here. We're going to be stuck listening to this chord loop. See, this is how it is. The coach is like, hey, chop, chop, players, what are we doing here? Drop and give me 20 pentatonics. Run around the gym. Okay, so Zach coming in with our guest. Thank you, Zach. I do appreciate that. Let's see how this sounds when I put it in Stephen Hawking voice.
A, F, pound, min, G, D.
D. Okay, so some ingredients in there are correct. That's good. And what's great is that if you're ever wondering, like, well, why should I learn the major scale? Here's why. This is among the many reasons, one of the top ranking reasons why is that these are the notes to D major. We know that we're in D major, right? From using our instincts and sounding out the key center and all that. But if you start to get familiar with, like, okay, the usual suspects in this key of D, and I'm just labeling like the tones of the scale. This is also where we derive those chord numbers, right? When someone says 145, they're talking about the chords that are built off of these scale degrees, right? So the 145 in D, like the sort of like the classic major chords, and these are the three major chords that exist in D major. Oh, this pen is driving me crazy. Maybe I need to get a new one. I don't know. This started happening with my last iPad where it would just like, sort of like conk out. So those are the three major chords. Great. So your ears should be ready to listen for those in a lot of like pop music, rock music. Like this is you're going to see those characters a lot. These are the three minor chords. And when I say these are the chords, obviously these are the notes, but based off of those root notes, we get a major chord, D major, we get a minor chord, E minor, we get a minor chord, F sharp minor, we get a major chord, G, major chord A, minor chord in the form of B, and then C sharp is kind of the outlier. That's a diminished chord. And then we get another, that D is sort of the repeat, but just to have the bookend of it. Great. So if we have this bass line, let me reveal what the bass line is. It's bum, bum, bum. It's tougher for people to hear that note. That note that I'm playing there is F sharp. That's why I built this progression this way, because it's a bit of a sort of in-between sound. Da, 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 ba, bum, bum, ba, bum, bum, ba, bum, so it walks right up the scale, starting on F sharp. Okay, so it starts on F sharp minor, G major, A, B minor. So what this is, what we're into now is like, maybe I wouldn't put it as a step. It's more of like an entire like thing to put on your to-do list, which is like start getting acquainted with truly what the notes of each major scale are. So no, you weren't way off, Zach. But it is that thing where it's like you got it. If you get the ingredients, you narrowed it down, and I knew you were pulling from some of the things you're hearing, and it's great that you're able to be familiar with the classic chords that sit within D major. But the order, obviously, and the exact flavor matters because, again, if the decoy with finding the home note was that we're going to land on the third and the five, and they're going to sound like they might work, what happens with chords is that you're going to hit major and minors that are cousins, they're relatives of each other. Because how many of you know that like the relative minor of D major is B minor? And that look at that as I play that. If you just look at the dots, they have a lot of notes in common. Look at that. They've got look at that, right? They have so much in common that they are very likely going to sound like, oh, that's what happened. But then you have to really double check. The same is going to be true when we go to this F sharp. That F sharp minor sounds a lot like an A because it's the relative minor to A. So you really weren't way off, Zach. It's more just like that kind of like it's that double check that we gotta do, be like, "Was it this?" Or like, "Let me really listen to the bass." And again, there might be curveballs, there might be moments where the bass is playing a different note than the chord that was written. It's all sorta up for grabs when you get into more and more, frankly, interesting and complex music. It's gonna break rules, but we gotta learn the rules and then notice, like, when they're going off the regular menu. So this bass line just goes F sharp, G, and I just kept it simple. I was just matching the bass notes to the chords. Ba-bum. Great. So let's play these progressions back to back, just once or twice, then we'll move on to something else. Okay. Let me see if I can. I'll put that away and I'll put that back up, count out the form, and then I'll quickly write out this other form right down here, which is F sharp minor, G, A, and B minor. And see what's different about this one is that it's just a four chord loop that happens over and over again. Okay. So starting with the A section, which means when I say A section or B section, I'm just referring to how we label them. I know musicians, we decided to put letters on everything. That's helpful, but it's the verse starting on the D. 2, 3, 4. We'll do another one of those. Now we got this other part. In a word, describe how this is all hitting you. Are you overwhelmed? Are you perfectly whelmed? Has anyone ever looked into what's the source material for whelmed? We never hear about anyone just being whelmed. It's always about being overwhelmed. I will tell you, my goal with my whole community, with my whole philosophy, is to get you perfectly whelmed. I want you to come in and feel like, yeah, this feels, I just got whelmed. It's just the right amount. It's bite size, it's meaningful. What you also see there on the graphic is Month to Mastery. That's my month long guided course, which you will love if you want the structured path. A lot of people, when they came in, they were like, "Oh, I love the workouts, but I also want to know what to do every day. Please tell me what to do and provide tab and provide PDF." So I happily obliged. So I have this really nice sequence of 30 days that's totally included. You could go straight there if you want to just sort of get into the rhythm of how I teach and all that, and have 30 days with original songs. You have 3 original songs that give you skills you can use in all sorts of songs. My whole idea is that I'm teaching you to fish. I don't want to just teach you how to play whatever, Wonderwall, and then just be like, great, now just play that song at a party and hope they don't ask for anything else. Hope you don't earn an encore. I want you to have the skills to jam whatever the situation. All right, we're having a good time. We're keeping it rolling. Let's see if we can just do this recipe a few more times on some different pieces of music. Let me know if you have questions. I'm keeping an eye out there. And let's rock and roll. What do we got? Ooh. I'm gonna let you lead the way. So I'm looking everywhere. Please tell me what's our step one? What's our home note? What's that note that sounds like home? And you know what? I might jam along. I'm just gonna cover up the fretboard. I'm gonna do my own thing. Michael B getting it. Nothing but net. Jeff Miller getting it. All right, so we got C. I'll put away these. Add a new layer if I may. iPad overlords, thank you. All right, so we got C. C, the sweet home of C. Great. And that matches my math. So if we ended the song right there on that feels like we got C major, in fact. So you found that major third built off the C. Now let's try to sound out this bass line. Bum, 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 bum. I'll take a couple chords at a time. So I'll go like bum, 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 bum. Okay, so help me now map out this chord progression and let's really get it right. Let's not leave any chords out. Because a lot of times what I'll see people do is that they start firing off chords that happen to be in the scale. And the analogy I've made for that is like that would be like if someone has a award-winning chili recipe and it's important that you put the right amounts of the ingredients together at the right time. And then someone says like, yeah, it's beans and it's ground beef and it's spices. And it's like, cool. Like, yes, that vaguely that's like Chat GPT saying like, sure. In the early days of Chat GPT, early days, a couple years ago, I was like, my way of testing it would be I'd say, hey, yeah, I've got these ingredients in my fridge. What's a great cocktail I can make from that? And from that, it would just grab all the ingredients. And so it kept trying to put pickle juice into every single cocktail. I'm like, no, how about in this margarita we don't do the pickle juice? And it's like, no, it wanted to be such a helper. And the same thing was true actually for chords. I would be like, all right, I keep asking AI to tell me how to do a thing that I don't know how to do, like make a green curry, and then I'd make that recipe. It'd be pretty good. But then I'd be like, spell out the how to play a C major seven chord on a guitar, and it would always get three of the four notes right, and then the fourth note would be just totally illogical. It'd be like you'd have to have six fingers. Ah, so that was always my litmus test to be like, we're not there yet. I don't know where it's at these days, but it's coming for our souls. So anyway, that gave you some time to think about it. What do we got? Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so I'm looking here at the answers, see if anyone's got it all the way through, if you got the right amount and the right chords. Okay, so I see a lot of people listing off the ingredients, right? There is C, there is G, there is F, but no, sorry, Sarah, those ingredients are in there, but we're missing some other ingredients and we need the order, okay? Jeff Miller saying C and A minor. That's great, but what happened? Did the signal cut out? What happened, Jeff? Where's the rest of it? AI is evil. AI is evil. You know what I mean? Okay, Maurizio saying C, that's good. Dale saying C, G, it's not quite the order. Okay, so this is where we take it a couple pieces at a time. Bum, 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 bum. I'll just loop those two bits. Bum, bum. Now we're starting to get it. Bum, 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 bum. Right, so we're starting to see some more complete answers. Right, we're seeing C to A minor. Okay, and let's go from there. Bum, 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 bum. And then we're seeing people say F, G, bum, 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 bum. And you better be writing this down and singing along. I mean, if you want to get better. If you just want to watch lessons the rest of your life, whoa, real talk. If you just want to be a guitar player that gets good at watching and playing along with lessons, I applaud you for showing up and playing guitar. I genuinely do. But the whole idea of all this is that when I go poof and when I go away and we're living in the digital afterscape where AI has nuked everything and there is no internet and I can't reach you, I need to know that somewhere around like a oil drum with the fire coming out, you've got a ratty old Cordoba guitar and you can sound out the chord changes and people can sing along. No one has teeth. It's all going to be great, but you're going to be the one leading the song around the fire. So you've got to be able to play the whole thing. It's actually a beautiful picture if you let it. Anyway, C, A minor. Now we got F to G, and then what? How does it wrap up there? Okay, so Jeff says C, A minor, F, G. Gang, I wrote this way in particular because we're almost there, but we're missing a lot of what songs do is that they do a little thing. You tried, Sarah. It's good. And I love that you tried. And anyone that's trying, just like putting the guesses out there, that's what this is. You just sort of, that's great. Oh, Cordoba, they make ukes. That's great. I have Cordoba sitting right over there. I love the nylon strings that they do. I bet their ukes are good too. This blank space right here, listen again. C, down to A minor. 1, 2, 3, 4. F to G to C to. Okay, so it goes back to a G. And this is what separates the pack. When someone can really hear like these details, like the turnarounds and the ends of chord progressions and these things that make something a little more interesting or a little more like connected to a melody. Because this is the stuff where if someone's playing like a that movement there is going to fit beautifully with that G, and it's going to sound like it really slings us around the bend to break it up. Because otherwise, if we just had C, we would have C, and then it would just go right back into C again, and it would be kind of boring. So melodically speaking, you've got to really listen for these moments that make a chord progression truly what it is. That's where songwriters like to set the hook and have you listen to something and then give you a little like twist, a curveball at the end. So this is the type of thing that you really got to sound out. So this goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's smooth sailing. You might go into autopilot, but then it goes C to G to. Isn't that what it is? Right? Or maybe I counted out the wrong number, but it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it goes 2 beats of each of the F and the G, and then 2 beats of. So it's an even 4-bar phrase, like a nice symmetrical phrase, right? And that really matters. Okay, that's crucial. All right, let's listen to this next section now. Same assignment. Let's find it. Ooh, I like this one. Listen to the keys here. Go, Timmy. Go, Mozart. Has anyone got it? Did you know I could play this? Who's got those chord changes? Okay, so it goes to a different section here. And it goes, and this is where you have to try to follow the bass line and count it out. It goes ba bum ba bum ba bum ba bum ba bum. So I'm hearing a chord. And it goes to a different chord. Yeah, meet me by the first barrel. Oh, they got the best roadkill there. We'll just say it's roadkill. Yeah. There's no more roads. Oh, well, don't worry about it. Don't overthink it. Okay, so let's sound it out. I hear A minor. Okay, that's the relative minor of C going to an F. What's that chord? It's a D minor, and then it goes to a C. Then it repeats A minor, F. Then get ready for something slightly different here. What's that last chord? Okay, what is this chord right here? It's importantly different. Callum, you're never late. When it's you, you're always right on time. Help us sound out what is this mystery chord at the end. We got an F. We got a guess for F. We got a guess for G. G Willikers. It is G, yeah. And so this is, I think when I was writing this, I was sort of trying to prove the point of what I sort of talked about last time in the last chord progression, which is that this change up here, this different chord is so important. This sets us up to go back home, and it actually ends up creating everything else is the same. Same chord, same chord, same chord, and then this is where it gets there's a change up. And that is everything. That is the duck, 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 goose aspect of music. It's like thing, almost the same, surprise. And that little surprise refreshes our ears, sets us up to go back around. So this all of this stuff we're talking about today, figuring out chord progressions is figuring out songs. It's hopefully going to be helping you figure out what you already liked about the music and you'll be invested in it. Like the last thing I want you to do is go trying to sound out the chords to songs that you don't really like just because you think you're supposed to have that party trick. I want you to be able to sit down with a nice, simple, satisfying tune that you enjoy and suddenly demystify it and start to understand like, oh, that's part of why I like this cool song. You can't always just figure out what makes something magical just by taking it apart, right? You can't just dissect the frog. But sometimes you can see, like, oh, that's so cool what they do here. And I've always liked that part of the song. Now I know a little more about why I like that. And I know a little bit more about how I could play along and be ready to emphasize that. That's really what experienced players enjoy so much is when there's a well-written song that has some interesting curves. They get to look forward. Those are kind of like the look forward to bits in a song form, where you're like, yeah, it's almost the same thing, and then there's like a it's like, when there's a James Brown tune, there's a bridge, like to the bridge, and it's like it gives you something to go away so that you're excited to come back. So that's essentially what we're doing. Let's hit me with some questions. If you have any questions about the community and what it's like and how it works, be happy to answer. We also got a lot of lovely members here that might help you out with that. Let's just jam on some other tunes. Ooh, what's this? I like this one. Yes, exactly. Repeat with variations keeps the listener involved. In fact, that's a quotable quote.
Repeat with variation keeps the listener involved.
You know what I mean? All right, turn down the keys. All right, the keys are a little spicy there. Let's start by finding the key center. What's our root note? What's our home note? I'm looking. Who's got it? Who's watching over on Facebook right now? And if you're watching the replay, hello, future. Lead Chambers coming in with the full set of chords. Let's see, what do we got? Let's see. It's not, I tell you what, it's not B. It's not B flat. It's not A, although that does sound like it might be one of the decoys. It's not A flat or G. We're getting closer. I feel like we landed on it there with F. So F is our home note. Okay, now we've got this really nice looping bass line. Ba ba bum. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 bum. So I think Lead Chambers might have nailed it. Oh, he almost had it. You got pieces of it. You got the first two chords correct. But this is again where you want to write down, and sometimes I say this is like that game Hangman. If you can at least put the parking spaces, like the buckets for, okay, I hear there's a chord, then there's another chord, then there's another chord, then there's another chord, and then it repeats. And you're like, oh, okay, so fill it in piece by piece. Those are both correct. Ba 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 ba. This is closing time, right? Does anyone hear that? I think we zeroed in on that. We got a bunch of Canadians in the community, and they were all over. They're like, "Oh, this is closing time." I don't know why I keep thinking semisonic is is Canadian. Can anyone look that up? I don't know. I don't know. It just sort of feels like it's a nice clean cut sound. Really great rock band. Um, what are the other or the other chords in this progression? There's these two spots here, and I wrote these with y'all in mind. Let's look at what are the notes of F. Help me spell out what are the notes of F. Dale, nailing it. So what Dale was able to snag is that what we have going on here is I'm writing the chords now that go with F major. Um, F major, G minor, A minor, B flat major. That's the only flat or sharp in this key. C major, D minor, and then E. ugh, And the pen wants to just not be a pen. E diminished, and then F. Right. So we've got right here. We've got the one chord. If we're just looking at like what we have going on so far, we have the one chord, we have the five chord, and then lo and behold, we have the two chord here, correctamundo, and then we have the four chord. Great. These are part of what I consider the usual suspects. And so this, I'm going to reveal in a moment one of our dreaded and most beloved friends as musicians. But let's jam a little bit more for this. Let's use our knowledge now. And if you're a fan of triads, I got tons of workouts on triads so you can do exactly what I'm doing, where I'm just playing the chords in different spots. Good stuff. So the thing that I'm referring to, wait for it. This might be a turning point for you to actually start to love and trust the circle of fifths. The circle. Somebody actually helped clarify whether it's a circle of fifths, circle of fourths. It is the circle of fifths. We often move in the cycle of fourths, and I'm not going to try to explain this entire wheel, um, because don't treat this as like this wheel is not telling you what to do. It's helping you. It's just like a ruler or a protractor or whatever. It's just helping you understand what's already going on. And you definitely are doing it wrong if you're trying to just memorize the whole thing. Although there is value to knowing all 12 keys, because once you know how to look at it, you're going to see patterns that will greatly, greatly help you. So check it out. In this key that we're in right here, this key of F, F is right here. So that's our home note. And now let's just sort of look at this chord progression. Okay, so C is the five chord. Oh, there it is right next to the F. Oh, that's kind of helpful. I could see myself using that. Okay, G is right here. That's not very far away right there. And then the B flat is right there. Oh, wow. So in this kind of like quadrant, this sort of like pineapple slice, this chunk, we have really important chords to this progression. And if we were to look at these other ones that we didn't use, D minor, well, I remember that D minor is in the list of chords from, yeah, it's a codex, exactly. There's D minor, and then A minor would actually be the other one. The only one that we don't have is that crazy diminished chord, which frankly doesn't come up that often anyway, because this chart doesn't even have diminished chords written on it. So your core six chords, your core chords, are going to be those usual suspects: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and some will happen more than others. But once you get that understanding, we'll do another chord progression here. In fact, we'll do one from the same musical idea, just a different set of changes. Let's see if you can sound it out now. This just helped you narrow down the menu. The whole idea of this whole chart is that once you know where you are in it, you can be like, oh, I don't have to worry about these right now because I found what the chords are for this set of changes. Wow, that looks crazy. All right, what is this part? And this will kind of do it for us, gang. I don't want to steal your whole Saturday. You know what I mean? And by the way, as we do these progressions, they're all going to sound a little bit like famous songs, because famous songs sort of follow these logical, satisfying, primal rules. Ba 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 ba. So what are those two notes right there? Ba 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 ba. And then we got ba ba ba. It's another 4-chord loop. Oh, we love those in pop music. I certainly don't think we have to do that all the time, but it's sort of been in vogue for the last 30 years or so. Ba 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 ba. What are those notes? Ba 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 ba. Oh, I lucked out. There's one. Ba 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 da da. I know you're all working hard, drawing up your own charts. I'll help you out with this, but if you feel like chiming in, don't worry. Ba 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 ba. Ba, ba, ba. Yeah, B flat to F. Great. So that's fun. It starts on the 4 chord, still very much in F. It goes away a bit, and it has a nice, when you go from the 4 to the 1, you have a sense of like in the middle of the progression kind of coming home. It has a nice sort of step away and come back quality to it. So yeah, we got this B flat to the F, and then what do we got? Ba 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 ba. Oh, we need 2 chords though, Mr. Miller. We need 2 chords. We got Red Heart coming in and nailing it. I think we got ba 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 ba. Quality, great work there. Red Heart, do we know you? Have we seen you before? If not, welcome. We're glad to meet you. This is the 6 chord, and this is the 5 chord. Great. So what we just have in this section right here, we go B flat to F, and then we go D minor to C. It's just another like handful of those go-to chords. Glorious. John Amos has it over there on the book. Let's jam to this. Oh, I got ahead of myself. Okay, so B flat. Fun, right? Shavy, how we doing? Got my Spindrift, not a sponsor. Good though. So that's the idea. I think that gives you plenty to chew on, plenty to work with. It's been a great lesson. Once again, whenever you're seeing this, is my solemn pledge, unless I change the pledge and the policies. But up until now, and until further notice, you get 2 weeks free. Join us because we do the shorter version of these workouts throughout the week. My members are here on a Saturday. They don't have to be here. They're just kicking it because they're hooked on the momentum. We do these workouts. They're maybe 20 minutes each week. We dove into this topic all week. Now they've got this added to their arsenal of moves. You could be just like us. And in fact, right now what I'm going to do is go over to our Zoom room. We have a 24/7 Zoom room that, sorry, by the way, I realized this week to my members, there were a couple of one-to-one lessons that I was doing, and I stole the Zoom room. So it's 24/7. It's maybe 23.5/7. But most of the time it's open where you can just hang out and talk to fellow guitar friends. And I'm not even there bugging you. So our community looks like this. We have a great website, also a seamless mobile app, iPad, works on everything. And this is where all the workouts go, and you can see all of the upcoming events, and you can RSVP. We've got all these topics. Last week we did Lifesaver Licks. all these great things you can jump into. We've got this area where you can dare to share. We have a dare to share challenge this month where you are challenged to write a solo on one string, and people are dropping off these great entries to that, as well as just clips of whatever they're working on, people cheering them on. It's like happy Facebook. It's like if everything was just sort of like friendly and upbeat and we're just cheering each other on. And it's a great time. So I'm gonna head over to the Zoom room. Have a great rest of your weekend. To the Zoom room, we say, and have fun with this. Woohoo!